Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, I'm often asked what I love about recording this podcast and how I find the energy to write, record and produce a daily podcast. Well, after a year of being locked down, I can safely say it's all about people and the global community. Because yes, I might not be able to travel at the moment and meet people at tech conferences and have conversations on the show floor, but I can have similar conversations and record them from my home. Yes, I can speak with guests from all over the world every single day, but I also get to speak and serve you, my loyal audience, who I know, looking at the reports, are located in 165 different countries. And it doesn't get more beautiful than that for me, especially when I built this show around saying technology works best when it brings people together. So today's guest is Alicia Asin Perez, who is waiting to speak with us in Spain. And she is the co-founder and CEO of a company called Labelium. And Alicia is the CEO and co-founder of the company that has created a wireless, modular and open source sensor hardware platform for the Internet of Things. But she is extremely focused on using digital technology for environmental and sustainability purposes, hence why her company does so much work in that area. And if all that is not enough, she's also an incredibly nice person that you could just sit down with and chat with for hours. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Spain so you can join me in conversation with the inspirational Alicia right now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm so delighted to be here today. My name is Alicia Asin and I am the CEO and co-founder of Libelium, and we are just trying to make the IoT revolution a reality.
Fantastic. And for people just tuning in, Labelium is a Spanish company that you founded way back in 2006 to monitor and improve the efficiency of everything from agricultural crops and water quality management and so much more. But can I ask that you share that story?
Well, that was it's a very old story right now because it goes back to the years when me and my co-founder were at university. He was finishing his master's thesis and researching about wireless sensor networks. So that was the way the idea came out of why not applying this to connecting the physical world with the digital one. We started with a sensor device capable to be that kind of spy everywhere, connecting with the internet, anything. And today we have customers in 140 countries. We have distributors in the 5 continents, and we have tens of thousands of devices. And it's been an amazing journey because the fact that we have horizontal approach to the market allows us to learn and experience many different things, from the improvement of milk production in dairy farms to send sensors in a satellite to the space, and to and put sensors in backpacks in koalas, and that's the biggest gift of this job.
And it is incredibly cool what you're doing here. And before you came on the podcast today, I did do a little research to learn a little bit more about your technology. And I did read that Labelium's technology is currently being used above the tomb of Tutankhamun to collect climatic data. But can you expand on that for the listeners? Because it's incredibly cool what I saw there.
Yeah, that's an amazing project that has been done by the researchers by the University of York in Canada and also the University of Zurich. And the idea is to monitor the fractures that are on top of the tomb to protect the safety of the tourists. So the researchers are trying to establish relations between the modifications of temperature and the evolution of the displacement of those factors. I think it's an amazing project, and the most astonishing thing here is that it's one of the projects that we call in Libelium the outliers, because you never build technology in series to say, well, we will be monitoring all the pyramids with this technology. You think we will improve agriculture, or we will help to prevent forest fires or things like that. And I think this is one of the nicest things of the Internet of Things, that it's a tool. It's something that allows researchers and people with the knowledge to use their specific knowledge and their expertise to solve any kind of problems, and whether they are related to koalas or to preserve these amazing marvelous that we have in the world.
And I love how you guys are extremely focused on using digital technology for environmental and sustainability purposes. But do you have any examples or use cases that would just help anyone listening understand the scale of the problems that you're tackling with your technology?
I have two that I really like. For example, we have seen a company that has been collecting environmental data and also production data in a dairy farm about the milk they were collecting daily. And they find out that when temperature gets down, they need to increase the feed to the cows. And that way they can increase milk production by 18%. So we are not experts in cows' behavior or milk production, but there's always someone that is expert that has the knowledge to solve a problem but lacks the tools. And with this kind of sensors, you can collect all the data and analyze that. Another example in Vietnam. Vietnamese fish farms of panga, for example, are losing 40% of animal production in average because they don't have good quality in the water they are where they are raising the animals. The problem is you cannot be there at all times monitoring the water quality and applying the water treatments accordingly, because those fish farms are usually in remote areas that are not so easy to reach. By installing these water quality sensors that can inform in a wireless way to the fish farmers, they are reducing the losses by the amount of 11 to 15%. So that's a very clear thing. And besides the improvement in the business case and the fact that they are increasing their benefits, you have a lateral thing that it's the compliance thing. When we were working with that company in this success story, we'll lift the prohibitions by the European Union to import panga fish from Vietnam. So it suddenly changed the scope of the project, because it's not anymore about being able to make more money out of your production. It's about being able to make any money. It's about compliance, about demonstrate the quality of what you are serving and what you are exporting. And I think this is going to be a general trend in the global food sector.
I completely agree with you. And something else I'd love for you to tell me a little bit more about is how 5G and IoT and the cloud are all converging, and what that means for the future. Because I think on their own, these technologies are great and we all understand them, but it's the exciting stuff is when they all converge, isn't it?
Yes, we've seen for these years, we've seen the three things trying to stand out like the real important thing to solve all the technological problems. And now you see that after testing all the things, well, you need to combine some computing power between the edge And we see that in many cases, it's not practical at all to send all the information to the cloud to be processed there. And we see a trend in some sectors and some applications demanding more performing power on the edge. Now you will be able to balance that and have some on the network as well, because 5G is allowing that some part of computing performance on the network, which will increase the performing capabilities of the whole system. And some of the applications related to IoT, like in industrial IoT, especially related with real-time mission-critical processes, were not possible before because you didn't have a real-time communication that now with 5G will be possible for the first time. So what I think is, I keep on reading articles from the 5G perspective, being like 5G is going to save the market. I totally disagree. I think none of us can forget any of the three parts of this equation, and we must ensure that both three things are implemented at the same level. And the example is 5G is like a highway. It's an infrastructure. So infrastructures enable, but not develop. So if you have a nice and very high-speed highway going to nowhere, you're not increasing the economy. You are not developing the rural areas. If you really want to transform agriculture in the European Union, in the world, you need to ensure that you don't have only the communication infrastructure, because that's not solving anything per se. You need to make sure that the farmers have all the tools, including IoT sensors and cloud infrastructures, to process and complete the whole solution.
And it has been an incredibly difficult 12 months. And we've talked about the struggles there before we came on the call and started recording this podcast today. But you're solving real problems with technology. And I've got to ask, what is it that excites you most about powering this IoT revolution?
Well, we've seen that, for example, before the COVID, IoT was trying to increase the environment, reduce the contamination, try to improve companies' competitiveness, and help you to stay out of jail, understanding as a compliance. Before COVID, the message was totally transformed, and it's absolutely necessary to increase the competitiveness of the companies. It's not about making some extra points in the P&L. It's about surviving, keeping you safe. It's another priority that you can allow with IoT. And when you mix both things, and for example, you apply that to restaurants and to the whole tourism sector, you see that you can apply very easy and non-invasive measures with the passengers and customers to allow the reopening of everything. And here in our city, and we were installing sensors in a shop to monitor the temperature on the customers before accessing the shop. So this way, they were making a fast check to everyone accessing the shop and ensuring a safe visit and a safe experience. And we've been cooperating with one of our partners in the United States, Aridia, to install these kind of systems in many government offices and even in a Toyota factory as well. Because it's not only about being able to do the check, you have to do that fast. If you have a factory and you have every day 3,000 people going to that factory, you need to test everyone. You need to do that in an efficient way. So I think that we are seeing this pandemic has helped to democratize the message of the Internet of Things, to make it reach any average person to understand, so there are sensors connected to the internet that can help problems that I understand, like that helping me to comply with social distancing, to help me to access public spaces again in a safe way, or even to save my business. The nicest thing is that we are implementing this datocracy concept in our cities. Everyone has been talking about data. The deaths are not matching the expected deaths. So is the government hiding deaths? There is how many people are suffering the ill? How many people are recovering? Are we understanding the data? We've seen all these debates on the TV for the first time, and average people are having this kind of conversations about data in context for the first time. So I think that's the perfect moment to rethink smart cities concepts and take advantage of the education that citizens are having because of this pandemic, and try to change the way of government and relationship with the citizens. So be more transparent. If you are making measures to reduce the pollution downtown, and you are thinking in a congestion toll, for example, or making a street totally pedestrian, monitor before, monitor during the implementation of the measurement, and monitor after. And be totally transparent. Share the data with context in an open data format with the citizens, so that they can really judge if you are doing well or not. It's like CEOs are evaluated by their KPIs as well. And I think that public administration needs to even go one extra mile. And when we were talking about how 5G and IoT and cloud can transform agriculture, we need to make sure that that's happening. So public administrations need to make sure they are supporting all the process for the recovery of the economy. It's not only about subsidize the 5G deployments. It's about subsidizing the whole infrastructure to make sure that there will be sensors to connect to that amazing 5G infrastructure.
And I'm glad you mentioned the conversations that you've been having there, because I'm curious that, from my perspective, there really seems to be a real desire to think differently and use technology for things like greater sustainability and help lower carbon footprints, for example. But I'm curious, from the conversations you're having, is that something that you're seeing too?
Yes, we see that we are having more deep conversations with public administrations and companies, and everyone is realizing that measuring and installing sensors everywhere is not the only. It's not a way to solve the problem of carbon emissions, because you only dimension the problem that you have. But if you don't include other measurements like smart parking systems or traffic congestion and traffic diversion systems, you're not doing anything. So sometimes I miss some tenders written to addressing just half of the problem, and I wonder what's a real interest in just measuring if you are not planning to address the problem in any way. If your plan is just convert this street in a pedestrian one, well, that's a solution. But if you really need to solve the traffic problems in your city, you need to keep on investing in more technology, or other ways it's not complete the solution.
Completely agree. And I don't want to embarrass you here, but I think this is something I've got to highlight, because I believe you recently became the first Spanish woman to win the National Entrepreneur Award. But can you tell me more about that and what it meant to you? Because it's an incredible achievement.
Well, that was a beautiful moment. That was back in 2014, and I got a really good lesson from that event, because it was just 1 week before we suffer a fire in our warehouse, and the whole company was totally burned out within 7 days. So I always think that was very poetical, because 1 week I was having dinner with the Prince and Princess of Spain, enjoying a very nice dinner and a very emotional moment that was backing all the efforts and all the work done by the whole team of Libelium. And 1 week later, we were just recovering things from the ashes, literally. So I think that's what being an entrepreneur means. One day you are totally up, one day you are totally down, and you need to learn that you are never that high or that low. You need to learn how to survive in the middle. Never allow your mind to go higher than you really are. Never let you allow to be lower. We need to resist. And I think that's, and because of this year has been particularly hard, I've been remembering all the good moments and just taking strong from them. So they've been inspiring me for surviving this year, in fact.
What a great story. And so many of your words there, I think, will really resonate with other startup founders and entrepreneurs listening to us today. But if we dare to look forward now into 2021, are there any tech trends that you're going to be monitoring closely? And what's your big focus going to be in 2021?
Well, the most interesting thing for me right now is cybersecurity and artificial intelligence advances, because they are totally related with what we are doing. I'm very interested also in how the regulations in privacy are evolving, because I think that they will be very critical in the future. And in fact, I'm part of the IoT Global IoT Council which is one of the councils in the World Economic Forum. And one of the topics that we are addressing is particularly privacy in the IoT. As Libelium, the big focus in 2020 will be to consolidate the strategic shift that we started a couple of years ago of trying to offer the complete solutions, not by developing them by ourselves, but by being that glue connecting all the pieces of the puzzle together, thanks to the big ecosystem that we have. So we think that we will put our focus in smart cities, smart agriculture, and smart water in the next 12 months. And I think that there's going to be big things to happen there.
Excellent. And for anyone listening that would like to find out more information about the work that you're doing, or even reach out and contact a member of your team, what's the best way of doing that and finding you guys online?
Well, they can find anything in Labelium.com in the contact section, and they will also access all the amazing stories that I've been telling here today, and they can complete the information with anything.
Fantastic. Well, I've loved chatting with you today. And I always say at the end of every episode that technology works best when it brings people together. But I love how you're using digital technology for environmental and sustainability purposes. Really inspiring your work that you're doing here. I'd love to stay in touch with you and get you on the podcast later next year too. But more than anything, just thank you for taking the time out to talk with me today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for the conversation. I really enjoy it.
What an amazing and inspirational lady. And I loved hearing more about her story and how she founded Labelium way back in 2006 to monitor and improve the efficiency of everything from agricultural crops and water quality management, for instance, smartphone detection and smart city management, all using digital technology. In fact, the tech is even being used to monitor water quality for the Scottish Salmon Association. And it's conversations like this that get me up and out of bed every morning. But over to you. I mean, I want to learn more about you listening, what you liked about today's conversation, invite you on here, answer a question, in fact, anything at all. The only limit is your imagination. So please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. My website is techblogwriter.co.uk. Keep those messages and questions coming in. Big thank you to each and every one of you listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.